Dear teachers, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say you are awesome. You need to hear this because you may not hear this often or enough. Who chooses to be a teacher unless you love it? You know that saying, those who can't do, teach? You see, my response to that is always, those who don't teach, can't do. Because people don't realize that the reason why the world is so at odds with one another is because of the lack of education and critical thinking that's required to be functioning and reasonable human beings. And they don't realize that you form the minds of the future. And that kind of calling is not a light one, nor does it come with enough equipping. I'm just gonna say it, you don't get paid enough. And this is no offense to your administrators, but how often do you buy your own materials? How often do you hear people criticizing you for your summer breaks? When your school day ends at 2:30, your work is done, right? People don't know that what you put into a child's education requires more than your time and energy. It requires your heart. And when that give and take does not reciprocate from the people you serve, it can be daunting. But in those moments when you feel like you can only mess up, in those moments when the parent sits in front of you criticizing you, I challenge you to remember this. You are enough. You've put in the time. You gave your energy. You spent the hours it took to learn and master your craft. But more importantly, you have the heart of God. This is my prayer for you and for you to practice. To dismiss this kind of prayer though, put people in a very dark place. And often when that dark place makes its way into your heart, it's easy to forget all of the equipping that God, along with your professors and your education, prepared you with. But God gave you your heart. God gave you your mind. God formed you out of dust, and from that dust, life resides in you. You are enough because God's grace, God's knowledge, God's wisdom is what you seek every single day. And if you pray this prayer as often as you can, reminding you that you are equipped with the heart of God, that equipping has the possibility of changing even the most toxic of environments and the hardest of hearts. You are a champion because God equipped you to be one. And the work of God's champions can only be equipped through God's own equipment. Just as David could not fit Saul's armor, so does the world's equipment weigh heavy on us. But God's armor is one that lifts up the spirit, clears the mind, feeds the soul, and goes before us to champion whatever giant, whatever unknown, whatever challenge that you face in your teaching. It may seem, though, that you have no armor on, because without the weight, it doesn't feel real. Without the heaviness and the suffering, it doesn't feel real. And if that happens, remember why David was able to walk into the valley to face the behemoth. The Lord who saved me from the paw of the lion and from the paw of the bear will save me from the hand of this Philistine. So my challenge to you, teacher, is this. Remember that God has already equipped you before, and he will equip you again. Blessings.